There was always a built-in fragility to this ceasefire, the cracks now becoming ever more apparent. Iran this morning launching strikes in response, it said, to US attacks hours earlier, saying it was targeting US military facilities in Kuwait and in Bahrain, where an apartment building was struck. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps saying violations of the ceasefire by the US would lead to a suspension of the processes set out under the two countries' Memorandum of Understanding. Overnight, the US military released footage of its attacks. It set on 10 targets in Iran after Iran again struck a commercial vessel in the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump posting this morning that the US may be forced to militarily complete the job. If that happens, the Islamic Republic of Iran will no longer exist.
President Trump's not going to stand for it. And meanwhile, we continue to move ships out by the dozens every day. And world oil prices are not just stable, they're dropping. So Iran's attempt to hold the world hostage and their economies hostage are completely failing.
This latest flare-up began on Thursday with what the US said was an Iranian drone attack on the cargo ship Everlovely as it was exiting the Strait of Hormuz. The US struck Iranian missile drone storage and radar sites overnight on Friday, with explosions heard in Sirik in Iran. Yesterday, Iran said it hit targets linked to US forces, with reports of strikes in northern Iraq and Bahrain, and another ship, a Panamanian-flagged tanker, the Kiku, was struck in the Strait of Hormuz. Last night, more reports of explosions in Sirik and Qeshm Island, as the US said it struck communications, air defense, drone and mine-laying capabilities. And early this morning, a further Iranian response, drones and missiles targeting Bahrain and Kuwait. Iran's foreign minister was in Iraq today, visiting the site where the US killed the Iranian general Qasem Soleimani at the end of President Trump's first term. He insisted that Iran was following the terms of its agreement with the US, restoring pre-war levels of traffic to the Strait of Hormuz within 30 days.
Any attempt to adopt new or separate arrangements from those currently being implemented by the Islamic Republic of Iran will only complicate the situation, delay the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, and raise the level of tension, as we witnessed over the past 2 nights.
Iran insisting that ships adopt its northern route through the strait, terming those that hug the southern Omani coast in violation.
The Iranians are trying to take advantage as much as possible from this leverage that they have. At the same time, we're seeing that the US is trying to minimize this leverage. It's now looking like a tit-for-tat. I don't think it's really going to hamper the negotiations in that sense. Obviously, again, you have many other players involved who are trying to save the process.
That process, though, also reliant on events in Lebanon, where Israel carried out further strikes yesterday and where an Israeli soldier was killed overnight. A deal struck in Washington on Friday charts a path toward eventual Israeli withdrawal, but in return for the disarming of the Iran-sponsored Hezbollah. Hezbollah's, and by extension Iran's response, visible in the immediate defacing of signs put up to celebrate the deal.